Today, we are going to be answering the question, how do you buy a new build home? In this video, I'm going to break down step by step what you need to do to purchase a new construction home. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Robert Navarro. I'm a new build realtor at newbuild.realestate. To make these topics fun, before we dive into anything, we always like to review a beer. And today's beer is Mosaic IPA by Community Beer Company. It's actually here in Dallas, the brewery. I actually really like this beer. If you watch my channel, you probably hear me say that a lot, but this is just an easy beer to drink. You find this everywhere. Really like Mosaic. It is a really good beer. I don't know why my producer chose to get a tall boy, given the fact that this beer is an 8.6% alcohol content. This is what I would consider like a real IPA because it's really hoppy, but it's not overwhelmingly hoppy where you can't consume it. And you can have several of these. If they're this size, you should probably only have like 1, 2, 6, 12, whatever, but great beer anyways. How do you purchase a new construction home? It's fairly simple, but every single step of the process is very important. We're gonna break down the process into 10 steps. The very first step, even though it sounds honestly like a given, is understand your goals. For some people, purchasing a home is, I just want to buy a house and I want to, start my family and I want to have something to give to my kids, when I pass. For others, it's an investment and they want to purchase in an area that they're going to lease out or rent out in a couple years. For others, it may just be purely an investment that they're not even going to move into and they just need to make sure that it's in an area that renters are willing to rent. So understanding why you're purchasing a home, and in this particular case, purchasing a new construction home, is extremely important. Let's just say that you are like most consumers that are purchasing a home for their primary dwelling, their primary home, where they're going to do life with their family. There's a lot more to consider than just the location. And what I mean by that is like, are you going to live in Dallas, Texas, in Frisco, in Austin, or Houston? You also need to understand and know where you're going to be in life. For example, let's say that you are a young couple that is going to be having kids. Then you may want to consider the school district. Or let's say that you are an older couple who has no kids and wants nothing to do with kids. Then you probably want to consider a community that focuses and is targeted more towards an elderly community. Understanding where you want to be in the next couple of years is extremely important. The second is hiring a realtor. I know that this is like, well, Robert, you're a realtor. You're saying this because, I don't know, you want us to hire you. Yes, I absolutely want you to hire me because I'm the best, if not definitely one of the best. The important thing in hiring a realtor is hiring a realtor that is competent in their area. And when I say area, I don't just mean like literally like the city or the subdivision or whatever it is in the area that you're purchasing. So for example, if you're purchasing, farm and ranch, you want to make sure that that realtor is very competent in farm and ranch. To be frank with you, I don't touch farm and ranch with a 10-foot pole. I refer that out to someone that I know and trust that knows how to do that the proper way. If you're looking for, commercial, which this is more about residential, but I also don't do commercial. I refer you to somebody that's an expert in that area. My specialty is in new construction. That is exactly what I do every single day, and that is what I specialize in. Let's just assume that you are in the market for a residential home and you choose to go and you're going with a pre-existing home, or in my case, you're going with a new construction home and you chose to work with myself. Okay, you now have done the first, hopefully, which you've determined, we're buying this home because we're going to start a family. The second step is hiring a realtor. Again, that's competent in your area, literally like the city, the location, and the area that you're purchasing in terms of like what type of real estate you are purchasing. The third is get pre-approved. A lot of people like to put the horse in front of the cart, and what they decide to do is just start looking at all these homes, and then they get super excited, and then they apply, and then boom, they find out that unfortunately they do not qualify, or that they don't qualify for what they thought they qualified, or in a better scenario, they qualify for a lot more than that they were originally shopping for. Purchasing a home is extremely emotional. Even if it's an investment, purchasing a piece of land, a piece of property where you're going to envision, the success of your family or your family growing or whatever it is extremely emotional, and you need to be aware of that. The last thing you want to do is get excited about something that's unrealistic for your current situation and is unattainable, and at the end, you're just going to be devastated. And I promise you, if I start showing you $1 million homes right now, and then you find out that your budget's $350, there is no home in the world that will unfortunately compare to that $1 million home at the $350 price point, unless honestly we go to like the middle of nowhere. The third step is extremely important. It also helps you identify the type of loan program that you want to go with. There's so many different loan programs, and I encourage you to check out our video on the different loan programs that we have to kind of understand what the different loan programs are out there. And trust me, that video even that we did doesn't touch the surface, but working with a licensed professional who knows everything about loans in the current market will help you and position you for the best possible outcome in purchasing your new home. The fourth is what I would say is the most important part, is researching the builder, right? So obviously your realtor will guide you and tell you, hey, this builder is known for this, or this builder is not known for that, whatever it is. But additionally, you want to sit down and invest a little bit of time looking into the builders, looking into the city that you're purchasing. Your research, it's not going to be like a huge time-consuming thing that you should be doing, but you should be aware of what someone is telling you, in this case, your realtor. The fifth is where things get a little bit different than if you were purchasing a pre-existing home. If you're purchasing a new construction home, you will now start touring model homes. So let's say that you are looking for a house in Dallas, Texas, and we identify several communities that meet your criteria. What we'll do is we'll schedule appointments at these model homes, and you'll actually go and walk the models so that you can get an idea of what the builder builds, the build quality, different floor plans, or whatever it may be that is extremely important to you at that time. Additionally, we're going to check out the community. Most new construction homes are typically in a new subdivision. So that subdivision doesn't really have a feel quite yet. Right now, if you drive down, maybe an older street, the trees are mature, you can see that the neighbors have lived there for a long time. You can already get a feeling for what type of neighborhood and what type of community this is just by driving down it. The disadvantages of purchasing a new construction home is that doesn't really exist. You don't know who your neighbor is going to be. You don't know what kind of people are there. But driving around, understanding the amenities, it really, really helps to understand what the community will inevitably look like. We tour different model homes. You'll inevitably fall in love with maybe a particular builder. Some builders have spec homes, which is a home that's already been built that you'll be able to walk. And honestly, if you want to purchase a spec home, you can purchase that exact house and you're good to go. Step 6. Step 6 is often, I hate to say it, but for some reason, a lot of people think that just because you are purchasing a new construction home, you do not need an inspection. You absolutely need an inspection. In fact, I would almost say that you need an inspection more for new construction than for pre-existing. The truth is, these homes are built by human hands. And while they strive for perfection, it's not always the case, and things can go wrong and most likely will. Now, thankfully, most of the time they're not catastrophic and your house isn't going to catch on fire, flood, burn down, and then you're going to be homeless. But there's things that down the line could cost you a couple $1,000s. Inspection comes back and we identify what's wrong with it. You send it to the builder and the builder fixes it and we're good to go. You saved yourself a lot of wear and tear or maintenance down the line. It's still extremely important for you to understand that this house is not perfect and it should be inspected to make sure that it's as close to perfect as it can be. And in those super rare instances where the builder really just, really messed this one up, which those builders are out there and we vet them and we tell you, hey, avoid them like the plague. But what if the foundation was shot? What if, there's no insulation in the walls, or something even bigger, the roof is leaking? You want to know those things up front so that you can capitalize on the warranty that the builder has and fix it before that problem becomes even worse, or altogether not purchase that home. Step 7, just like a pre-existing home, you will order an appraisal. Now, a lot of people think, oh my God, I got an appraisal, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you do. Fun fact, you don't have to do anything. Your lender does all that. FHA, conventional VA, all those appraisals have to actually be ordered by the lender. So at some point during the transaction, once we have all our ducks in the row, the builder gives us the thumbs up that the home is at a certain level of construction that it can be appraised. It's simply just emailing or calling your lender and saying, hey, we're ready for an appraisal, send the appraiser out. The appraiser comes out, and basically what an appraisal is they're making sure that the house is worth what they're lending you. A lot of builders won't always negotiate pricing because they have to be very conscious of the appraisal. That doesn't mean that they're not willing to give you additional benefits, whether that be closing costs or upgrades or all that, but always just trying to reduce the sales price sometimes is actually not attainable by the builder, because let's say that they're on their, fifth home of 40 in the neighborhood. If they all of a sudden drop the price just for you, they're going to have a effect on the rest of the appraisals down the line. Step number 8, final walkthroughs. This is just as important with new construction as it is with your pre-existing home. Getting a final walkthrough the day before you close is extremely important. You want to make sure that if there were repairs, those repairs were done prior to you signing on the dotted line. That final walkthrough, just to be clear, is not an opportunity for you to renegotiate terms or ask for upgrades or repairs or whatever it is. It is simply just to make sure that the house is in move-in ready condition or whatever condition you agreed on in your contract. So you want to walk through the house, who knows, maybe from the time that you last saw that house, a pipe burst in the walls and it flooded, or it caught on fire, or something. I guess there's nothing worse than it catching on fire, but whatever, blowing away in some sort of hurricane or tornado, I don't know, whatever, tsunami. Regardless, your final walkthrough is just a check to make sure that those things were done. And yes, if those things happen contractually, the builder or the seller are obligated to fix the home, but you don't want to sign on that dotted line until you know that the house is ready to go. Which brings us to step number 9, closing. And I more like to say closing and funding. A lot of people think that closing is just one step. Closing is the actual, part where you sign the papers and everyone agrees on everything. And the second part is funding. You as the buyer legally become the owner upon funding. So let's say that you sign paperwork on Thursday at 4 p.m. and the seller signs paperwork on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Here in Dallas, the federal cutoff time is, I believe, 3 or 3:30, which means wires wouldn't be able to go out that Thursday. So you can't move in on Thursday. The wires would likely go out on Friday at 8 in the morning, at which you would become the legal owner of that house. Which is why it's important to have, again, a realtor that understands these timelines, because if you have movers scheduled for Thursday, honestly, you're screwed. Because unless there's some sort of prior arrangement, which a lot of sellers, and I promise you builders, will absolutely not let you move in before funding, you're going to have to either pay to extend the movers, or you're going to just have to wait. It's just the reality. So being conscious that closing is a 2-part step and making sure that those times align with your actual move is extremely important. Which brings us into step number 10, moving. This is the best part, but I don't know anybody that actually likes to move, but it's fun because you get to finally take possession of your home. Moving is the reason I put number 10 as moving in here, especially when it comes to new construction. It's an opportunity for you to really inspect your home in detail. With new construction, you get what's known as a 1-2-10. A 1 year, we call it like the bumper to bumper, and it covers a lot of things in a new construction home. The 2 year is your systems, such as your systems, plumbing and electrical. So basically anything in between the walls. And then your 10 year is structural, which is like your foundation and like your roof. We have a whole video on home warranties. I encourage you to check that out as well. But the reason I bring this up is as you're moving in and you're setting furniture down, you want to take notice of maybe anything that's wrong with the house. Again, it's probably not going to be anything major, but if it's something that you know should be addressed to prevent possibly further damage down the line. For example, I had a client that was moving into their new construction home, and when they moved into their master bath, there was absolutely no caulking around, really any caulking anywhere, even around the sinks in the tub area, around the glass and pretty much anywhere that water could be penetrating. It was a simple putting in a quick warranty request. The builder came out, fixed it, it was good to go. So 10 being move in is kind of, dual-sided, where I'm like, yes, you're moving your stuff in, but at the same time, you want to take that opportunity as you're opening drawers, as you're opening cabinets, as you're opening doors, to just double check, like, is this done? Is this done? All that stuff. Because within the first year, like I mentioned, that quote unquote bumper to bumper warranty, you can submit a list of all these things that were wrong. Now, just full disclaimer, not everything is covered. Your wear and tear, you hitting walls, you chipping things, that's not covered. So don't think that you're gonna get away with murder by, oh, I might as well beat it up the whole first year. No, that's not how it works. It covers craftsmanship. So let's say a door or a cabinet was put in incorrectly, that's covered. A door warps, that's covered. Whatever, whole other video. So I hope that this video gave you a really good idea of, what you can expect. I know it sounds super, super, super simple, but honestly, it is that simple. Those steps are very clear, but every single step is extremely, extremely important and has its own level of complexity in every single step that you want to make sure that you are being guided by a true professional. So I'm curious, let me know in the comments below if you guys think that this is, for those of you who've maybe purchased a house, if you think this is a pretty accurate description of what the step-by-step is to purchase either a new home or a pre-existing home. Because I'm genuinely curious of whether I could make maybe a new video on with a little more detail or, besides the point. So if this video helped you or you think it will help anybody else or is in the market for a new construction home, I would love to personally connect with you. There's a link in the description below. Click the link, schedule a time with me, and we'll see you soon. See you guys next time on our next week's video.